The topic of this one is you don't belong here. And here's the context. This past week, I got laid off, which means I'm in that zone of refreshing my resume, figuring out what kind of job I want for my next steps, and just taking some time to reflect. One of the areas that I've always been interested in is on the investing side of startups. I've been on the operation side of them, both trying to start them, being a part of early teams, some of them that have grown pretty quick, some of them that have taken a little bit longer.
Can I pause you real quick though?
Yes.
How is this layoff different than the other past ones then? Because as of right now, you already had a game plan kind of formulated. So again, when that initial thought, when initial word said you're laid off, how do you feel from this time than the ones before? Because it sounds different than you freaking out.
Yeah. Didn't freak out because I've been through it before. I definitely had a rant on LinkedIn about what my thoughts were on it. I think when people get their first layoff, there's this association of the layoff being correlated to the value or their competence and their skill set. A lot of times that's not the case. There's just business reasons that you didn't make the cut and that's about it. You can still be an all-star. And if you're plugged in enough to the business, you can kind of see it coming. And so if you see it coming and you know it's coming and you have financially prepared yourself, you have a decent amount of runway to take some time, accept it, recalibrate, execute. And so I think for me, I needed 3 or 4 days to calibrate everything. And now I'm just back on the search for what I want to do next.
So let's resume on what you're doing right now.
So as I was looking into the investing side of the house or venture capital side of the house, when you're looking at all these different funds, there's statistically a background that they're looking for. And as I was starting to dive in through what some of these statistics were, I think it opened up a larger question of me reflecting on just my general path of what I've done in my career so far. So here's a little bit of background just on the VC side. There was a Techstars. Techstars is like an incubator or accelerator program for startups. They had an article that was highlighting diversity in venture. And one of the stats that they highlighted was that 90% of all venture capitalist partners either went to Stanford University or Harvard University. Statistically, right? They went to those 2 universities. So that means, okay, great. Statistically, I have a 10% chance. But then when you take one step further of thinking of what did it take to even get into that school, to have that opportunity to even begin with, it looks back at, okay, well, what's the attrition rate going into a school like that or getting into college in general? And I was able to find a study by it's called the School and Student Services, that in 2018 and 2019, that school year, 64% of private school graduates actually went to a 4-year college afterwards. A public school student only had 44% chance of actually going to a 4-year college. So the difference in access between a private and public school changes your percentage of going to college by 20%, which could then matriculate into potentially getting to a higher college, which then can open the door for other career opportunities afterwards. And so one of the things that got me going was thinking of this question: what are things that we have done, or have you been in a situation that's similar to where you were able to get a job where traditionally you probably should not have been there?
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Well, it wasn't the current job right now. At the level I'm at, it was you needed a master's and a bachelor's. I don't have a bachelor's. So it's back at the alma mater, but it was still just needed 2 kind of degrees to be where I'm at. So technically I should not be where I'm at.
What made you different in order to break that mold to get there?
Honestly, it was my network. Still did a good job. They remembered me. And back to the networking opportunity was that my future supervisor was someone who saw my work ethic and saw who I was as a person and who I was. So that just helped me out. It's very slim. Heck, I might run the story or not. My coworker who just got hired on straight up said, "How'd you get this job without having a master's?" Straight up. And I was like, I'm going to really, really be angry right now. But to a certain point, yeah, I should not be there. And I think what made me that difference was at least gave me the opportunity of that network to get me in the door. But again, it was the what I did when I got through the door that's helped me stay.
So
But
part of it
I
was creating the opportunity. The second part was earning the right to stay.
correct. So I
And
think every day though, it's like valuable. It's like more every day for me.
when I reflect on my career, there's two scenarios where I didn't fit the statistical mold. So the first one, going to San Jose State University and working within Deloitte's consulting, advisory consulting branch. The division that I was working with, the majority of individuals were from UC's or Cal Poly SLO, maybe Santa Clara University. I was the only San Jose State University student there. And when I looked at where other San Jose State University students were being hired for, it was like in their audit or tax practice. So then it made me think of, okay, how did I get that opportunity? And a lot of it was like Deloitte didn't come to San Jose State University to hire. I had to be the one that did the outbound outreach, apply, try to, hey, look at me, check out my resume kind of thing. Similar to when I was going to Clubhouse. The Clubhouse opportunity came because I was willing to reach out to early team members, send cold emails. There was no network that was built there before. But when I got there and started to realize the statistical background of the people that they were hiring, they were looking for individuals that either had a background at a college like Stanford or from one of the FANG big tech companies. Basically, if you didn't meet that one of those two criterias, you had very, very little chance of getting in the door. And again, I kind of went back to needing to do the outbound, being creative in how you outreach to individuals, creating the opportunity for yourself rather than the opportunity coming to you. And so before I started this dive, it was all started because I was thinking about getting into the VC world and reflecting on what will be that game plan of that outbound that's going to be required for me to even get a shot to be looked at potentially for one of these roles.
So what would you try to figure out now to not finesse, but maneuver to be that 10%?
I mean, some of the stuff that I'm doing right now is like revising my website, putting case studies out there of all the work that I've done, having really thoughtful perspectives on what happened, maybe potentially why it happened, or what some of the learning or like key takeaways were from those experiences, and using those as areas to pad just a simple resume or cover letter. Right? It's when I'm thinking of levels of applying, you can apply on a generic application. You send in your resume and a cover letter. Maybe you fill out some of the open-ended questions. And then the next level is like actually having work that supports it, that can provide more context to people and hopefully pique their interest in checking that out. Where now, when being compared to other individuals that just might only have a resume from a statistical, background that they're looking at, mine might stand out just a little bit more because I had gone above and beyond to creating the material that was required to give assurance that they should give me a shot.
Yeah, it's interesting. Hearing about that is just always a stepping stone. We don't never know what we're doing or building. You think it's silly, but then building it, maybe failing, for sure failing. You're like, holy crud. You can look back and I built this for a little bit. That's so freaking cool. It was even before this, we were just talking. Oh yeah, I built that. I forgot I built this. So even though you failed or not, or it's better than not starting at all, and then giving yourself an opportunity that, hey, I can still be willing to, regardless of failing, I can still put something on I could still tie up my boots and still get to work. Because at the end of the day, those failures did not define you. It was more, let's pick up the lunch pail again, get back. So that's pretty cool.
So that was that's also an update with where I'm at in my career path as well. Is on the search, was laid off, going through it right now, and we'll see in a
After
couple of
we talk
weeks.
about,
Yeah,
I thought we talked about being laid off. previous on the previous podcast.
Definitely caught up to me, that's for sure. But
No, I
I'm taking
love
my
that
own
though.
advice from that video of
No,
what is
I'm pretty
required
sure
to
I said
stand
it.
out.
Let's refer to that. Let's see if it works. Let's set.
Yeah, I mean, we
You
could
can
put the little
set this
card up in the corner, in one of these corners.
somewhere.
Yeah, I have no idea where this is gonna actually like record, but it'll be up in the
Me
corner.
neither.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the end of that topic. So for anyone that has joined us for this long, thank you for diving through with us from everything from Bed Bath and Beyond, Survives,
Silence.
silence, and the virtues that come with that, to my update with my career and lack thereof a job. This is episode 10. See you in the next one.